You ready to talk about Burkina Faso?
Yes.
And just be mature about this. Okay, this is a serious issue and this is affecting a lot of people.
Where is Burkina Faso?
Mr. G, teach us.
Yeah, let's learn. But first of all, where is it?
West Africa. It's near like Mali.
Okay.
And for years, they were colonized by the French.
Okay.
And the French basically colonized them and started taking all the resources.
Yep.
As they do.
As they do.
Only them.
Well, they apparently have their history of colonization is different. So, like the British sometimes would like come in and like nanny state, but the French would just come in and be like, we're taking everything.
Taking it all.
So then they get independence in the 60s, but the French leave, but then prop up a bunch of their backed politicians that then run the country and just kind of siphon off all the resources to the French.
Right.
Also, the U.S. kind of comes in, starts siphoning off resources.
And didn't they leave military there that were able to like just like break up conflicts?
But yeah,
like even though they were free, there was like, nah, we still got to leave some of our military.
They had a presence, and then the president was, backed by the French. And then they get this guy Sankara back in the day. He gets assassinated, and he was trying to like liberate the country and nationalize the resources.
Right.
And then gets assassinated. And then basically from then until like 2016, they've just been under like the kind of like French, colonization, stealing all their shit.
Yeah.
And then in 2022, this dude comes in and says, "Nah, fuck that."
What's his name?
Ibrahim Traore or
Okay.
or something. And basically just takes back the country and starts nationalizing all the resources. So does a coup, creates a government, and he's not the leader of it. He's 37 years old.
Fire.
And is just running the country.
Was he a military guy?
He was formerly military.
And then, so how did he get the loyalty of the military?
Basically, he was just like, yo, this is fucked up what they're doing. All these presidents are like Manchurian candidates, siphoning off our resources, leaving our country in squalor. Burkina Faso has like historically the lowest GDP, or like of the lowest GDPs. 40% of the country lives below the poverty line. Everyone's struggling, but they have the fourth most gold of any African country. Just getting crushed. And they're like, what is happening? Why does this keep happening to us? And so then they do a military coup, and then the guy that leads the military coup ends up getting ousted by him. So it's like a coup of a coup.
Oh, shit.
Of another coup. Like, there's just like all these different coups. And so he eventually gets appointed by like the coup board. And they're basically like, yeah, Ibrahim's going to run it. And now everyone...
Why did the first guy get kicked out? Do you know?
They were unsure of his loyalty. And then also he wasn't going hard enough on the jihadists. So there's two problems happening in Burkina Faso, where the one is like the French occupation. And then the other thing is you have jihadists coming in from like Mali that are now displacing all these people in Burkina Faso. So they're coming through, like 2 million people have been displaced, thousands of people have been killed by this like militant Islamist regime trying to create like an Islamic state.
What's their name?
They're connected to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. They have like super specific like, sets. Like I don't know what the specific name is. But yeah, basically he's coming through and be like, yo, we're nationalizing the gold, we're kicking all the jihadists out, and we're going to make Burkina Faso great again.
There's been like 2 assassination attempts on his life.
Oh, yeah, so far, like that we know of. And they've tried to like coup him. So he got super popular recently in April because they tried to do a coup on him, and he was like, nah, fuck that. And so now what happens internally is that you have people within like your own regime trying to take you out. So there's other people vying for power, like people that helped you get to your position now trying to take you out.
Yeah.
So now he's creating a system. I don't even understand how they're doing it. There's not even a ton of coverage on this. It's like hard to find. And he's basically like quelling internal coups and basically appointed himself as like the leader of the country.
Holy shit.
Kind of did away with like the democracy. He had a quote where he was like, democracy's never progressed a country. No country's ever developed under democracy. We need like a strong king to like rule the shit. And it seems like he's doing it. So the people of Burkina Faso are like pretty stoked on it. And now this like authoritarian kind of thing is like spreading through Africa, where people are like, we need this in every former colonist state, because all of Africa has been now like beholden to their colonial ancestors, or their parents rather.
I imagine in the near future, there will be no buying of the rights to your natural resources. There will only be partnering. Like, I think recently in like Trinidad, there was this leader who sold all of because Trinidad has oil. So I think they like sold all the oil rights to the Chinese for like 100 years, or like leased it for 100 years. And like the way this thing happens is that they cut the deal so that that specific person gets super rich, at the cost of the people. And this happens, I'm sure, all over the world. But I imagine like maybe one of the benefits of globalism is that there'll be these like international policy like laws in place that will protect the colonial countries from doing this. But at the same time, these smaller countries do need the investment for infrastructure. So if you've got all this oil, and you need to find a way to get it out, but everybody's living in poverty, you need investment. So it can operate in a similar way to, I'm trying to think, like,
I mean, UAE is, in my opinion, the best example of this.
okay, give me.
So, like, their British mandate, the English control the whole area. And it's not even UAE, it's just all the separate Emirates. And then they find oil in the 50s. And then Sheikh Zayed brokers a deal with the British and is like, hey, we're going to give you the oil. At first, they started just taking the raw oil, not refining it in the country, not helping the people, just getting all the oil out of there. And he goes, no, we're going to come together, unite all the Emirates, and then nationalize the oil and refine it all here, and then partner with BP so you guys get rights. And then partner with the US, Exxon, all them, you guys get rights to the oil. And then that's where the petrodollar comes from. So like, hey, we're all going to trade our oil. We're going to give you guys good deals. We're going to partner with you guys, and we're down to play ball, but we're going to help our people first. And was diplomatic enough to make it work. Like, he didn't get ousted or, replaced.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a way where it's actually cheaper for the colonial countries to do this, because they're like, hold on. So you'll organize it, stop all the warring factions, because if there's war in the country, we can't extract the oil. If we have to worry about jihadists blowing some shit up or a coup happening, it stops the oil from coming. So there's a certain amount of like money that you have to pay for protection for your goods. So it's probably cheaper to have a leader that will give you access, and then that leader goes, okay, how much are you paying to protect all this shit? Okay, well, you don't have to pay that anymore because I'm going to protect it, but I want that delta.
Yeah, but
So
historically, the cheapest thing was, let's just put our guy in who's going to give us everything.
Yes, and now it looks
we'll make
like
him a millionaire.
Yeah.
And we'll just take everything.
But now the people are going, they're educated enough, and maybe the internet is available enough where people go, okay, this isn't fair, and we're getting fucked.
Yeah.
And there's other examples, I guess, in Africa or even the Middle East where like there's a different system that actually benefits the people.
Yeah.
But then when you have situations like this happen, then they just take them out, like Gaddafi.
That is, yeah, I mean, that happens all around the world. But now maybe there's enough security where you don't get to do that. And it's also like there's a lot of shame that goes along with that. Like back in the day, you could take someone out and nobody really knows about it.
Yeah.
But like if it's making news and somebody gets killed, you have to go, well, who killed him? And then if it trickles back to France, imagine how we're going to look at Macron or the leadership over there that's basically okaying the murder of not only the government official, but like the leading government entity in an independent country.
I would say yes and no, because a lot of people, it's over there, and we can just, it's like out of sight, out of mind.
And you just fund a sort of separate military group and
To
you give them
handle all
some
that
money.
shit. Yeah.
And you fund 5 of them.
Yeah.
And then whichever one wins, you're like, oh, great, we got our guy back.
Yeah.
But there's a cost too for that. It's like what the mafia bosses will always say. It's like when we're all at war, we're not making money.
Yeah.
Brings way too much attention. Yeah, I think that the best. I really think that even for the colonial powers, it works better if you just take, maybe you're making 10% less, maybe you're making 30% less, but you don't have to worry about shit. And you get to act like you're this like benevolent partner. Like, wouldn't you rather the world see you as somebody who's like lifting up these African nations instead of this like diabolical, like, I don't want to say like terrorist, but like colonial state?
Which like they kind of do. So like some of the colonists are like, no, we have like aid programs and we're getting you guys aid and we're helping out.
But even that gets caught up by the people in charge if they're corrupt.
Exactly.
Right? So then the food actually reaches the people. There's that great example of, I think it's Botswana, if I'm not mistaken. But there's this leader who was just like, I mean, you could argue, maybe look it up right now, but like one of the greatest leaders in history. And he basically took this African nation from squalor to like the highest like GDP of any African nation, the highest levels of education. And he like slowly did it piece by piece. But first was, I think nobody actually had rights to their minerals. I think they had like diamonds. You can look at it, see if it's Botswana. I'm not exactly sure. I forget this guy's name. I should know the name. But like, great example of this. Like you can do it. You can pull your country out of extreme poverty, but you cannot do it without the natural resources.
Yeah.
Like the number one, like, because if without that, you just have nothing to pull from. What are you going to do? Tourism? Nobody wants to go there. People are getting shot. They think your country's full of AIDS. They think. No, but like, unfortunately, that is the perception, right? So people aren't going for like cute little vacations over there.
Right.
One of the reasons why we can go to the Caribbean and all this kind of stuff is because we're like, oh, it's safe.
Yeah.
But
But Burkina Faso's in a tough spot because they're landlocked. So they require and rely on all their neighboring countries for like transportation.
Botswana too.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. So it's those are the ones that are most difficult because they're also easily invaded.
Yep. You're
You
just
know?
so dependent on the people around you.
Can you check to see if it is that guy?
And then what's interesting is that a lot of the people in Burkina Faso now, Ibrahim is kind of like partnering with the Russians a little.
Oh boy.
Like trying to, get some infrastructure, trying to like cozy up with them because you kind of do need
You need a daddy.
you need a little bit of a partner.
Yep.
And so now Russia's like, hey, you've been screwed over by the French, the Americans, da da da. And the American diplomats are like, hey, this coup thing is crazy. And the Russians are kind of helping them out.
Yes. What is it?
Seretse Khama?
Yeah, Kama. And it was Kama's elected as first president. And then he was just like, there's a great YouTube video I watched on it. And like some of these guys do these like really in-depth, historical accounts on YouTube, like really like well-researched with imagery and all this stuff. But this guy, Kama, I think he's no longer in power. And I think the guy who followed him, there isn't like tons of support. But I imagine he was in power for years. I think he had like a white wife too. And that was a little bit.
Snow bunnies, man.
Yeah, he got snow bunnied a little bit. I think he was educated in England, if I'm not mistaken.
I just hope we start seeing more of this happen in Africa and the countries just get their resources back because there's so much wealth in Africa and it's just being fucking.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah, but yeah, you get people partnering, and like the tricky thing is you kind of need these people to be educated outside of their country. Because if they're educated within their country, they're probably part of the propaganda machine that's kept people at bay. So it's almost like you want them to go to the colonial powers so they can learn what happened to their country in the most effective way. And then like go to these like institutions like Oxford or Harvard or that kind of stuff. And like you'd like study business or geopolitics and you learn how trade actually works. And then you can start to broker these deals and build these relationships with the other countries. Yeah. And especially right now where like everybody's terrified of the value of currency. Like I think gold is at like $3,000 a pound. Or some insane price. So right now is the perfect time to own your fucking gold rights.
Yep.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah, because that's the hedge against currency.
Yeah. And he's looking at the farmers too. He's like giving farmers free tractors. Like he's like, so far it seems like everyone likes him.
Yeah.
This is since 2022.
Yeah.
What he does with this sort of unchecked power, we shall see.
That's the thing. You need someone who's like truly benevolent.
Yeah.
Can you make sure that I was right about that Botswana guy? I don't want to get that wrong.
And then I think there's like a movement in
See
South
if he's got a white
Africa.
wife.
There's a YouTube
It's a
video
movement
called
in South
Seretse
Africa
Khama,
that
Life
they're
and
trying
Legacy
to
of Africa's Best President Ever.
So
Yeah.
what was that?
That's the one.
It might be, but there's a few that have been done on it. But it's specifically like what he did. Like at a certain point, there was like invasions. He's like, okay, well, the first thing was after naturalizing, it was investing in education. He's like, because an educated populace is going to continue to innovate and.
His wife was white, it looks like.
Yeah. Like he had this like step to being a first world country or whatever it is, and like he fucking knocked it out of the park, you know. But naturally, having the resources was amazing. I think at one point Botswana was like part of Zimbabwe or something like that. But like he had to worry about invasions. He's like, okay, now we have to invest in military. Like he just went through the process, and he had enough support from the people. And it's possible. Yeah. I guess that's the point. Is like it is possible.
Just gotta be immune to that corruption, though.
And that's hard.
You
bro.
get a seat at the table, and they're like, "Bro,
Yeah, no, that's rough.
let's just give you everything you've ever wanted." Like he grew up in a town of 2,000 people in the middle of Burkina Faso, one of the most poor countries ever. And now people are going to him, being like, "Yo, let's do a deal. Let's work this out. You'll be a millionaire, billionaire." And you got to be able to be like, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna help my people."
I mean, what if you're that guy? What you got something, Joey?
Oh, that's right. What you were saying.
So, like, what if there's I think about this all the time with Bukele. I would love to have the El Salvadorian president on it because it's like.
Did you see I think it's him, but he just got caught selling a bunch of coke.
Bukele?
I'm pretty sure.
What?
Yeah,
I would look that up
Yeah, look it up. So it's like
before I congratulate him.
he owns some coffee business in Miami, and it was a huge bust of like $30 million worth of cocaine that was supposed to be shipped to Germany. Like these motherfuckers are crazy. But check that, just double check. But I'm pretty sure that was. And it's like Western media isn't covering it. Only like Latin American news is covering it, and they're trying to keep it like super hush hush.
And so he's doing what the CIA did to his country here. Nice.
Yeah.
That's that get back.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, or what we did in Afghanistan when we took all the heroin fields.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't sell it in your own country.
Yeah.
But if Canada can sell asbestos to Thailand, then why can't El Salvador sell coke to some other countries? Like, it's what we tell people all the time. Like, the issue is taking advantage of your own people so that you can get rich. fucking over other people, we seem to look the other way. America's done it. A bunch of other countries have done it. It seems like that's how you become a superpower in a way.
Yeah.
Whether it's through colonization or through selling, narcotics. But like, there's a market for this shit. The problem is when it just completely erodes the fabric of your society.
Yeah.